I took the long road home.
Welcome to Trippin with the Engles, RV TripWizard version 5 demonstration. Back in April of last year, we did a demonstration of RV TripWizard version 3. And since that time, it's gone through a number of enhancements. We also posted on our blog some of the reviews or some of the other mapping software that we took a look at. For instance, Google Maps and Bing, which are not RV specific. And then because of the length of the RV, the weight, the width, the height, the bridges you have to go under, we started looking at more specific RV-related trip planning software. And we tried out Good Sam. The FMCA has a version of trip planning software. Escapees have one as well as our RV Garmin has some software as well that is built into it that you can download from Garmin that will help you plan a trip. All these were okay to a certain degree, but none of them met our needs the way RV TripWizard did. Now, RV TripWizard is a subscription-based service, so it's about $39 a year. We received no compensation from them for this review and demonstration. So let's go take a look at it. For this demonstration of RV TripWizard, we are going to plan a trip to the Albuquerque Balloon Festival. Now, RV TripWizard is at RVTripWizard.com. And one of the first things that we noticed with the new version of the software is how fast all the pages load. It was not bad before, but the new software and whatever servers they're running on just seem to be doing an outstanding job. So you click on Member Login. Again, it's subscription-based, so you've got to log in order to take advantage of the services. And we are going to first set a few settings. So when you initially set up your account, you'll be prompted through this. Since we've already done some trips, we have a lot of those things set up. But we're going to go ahead and step through some of the more important account settings. And we're going to go through trip preferences. So for our RV, we're going to be pulling a towed. And so we are anticipating that we're going to be getting about 8 miles per gallon, a lot of hills and mountains. Sometimes I can often get 9 miles per gallon, but I'm going to be conservative and say 8. $3 per gallon for fuel cost. That may be optimistic with Hurricane Harvey still kind of zooming through here. We have a 90-gallon fuel tank with 20-gallon reserve, so we want to start looking and getting fuel before we get down to that 20 gallons left. We're 13 feet high and diesel pusher. You can also put in personal expenses per day on an average, so you can have it automatically fill in the dollar amount for camping, meals, and miscellaneous expenses. For routing, you can avoid major highways, toll roads, and ferries. Now, the driving tab is where it comes in very important, at least one of the outstanding features. So we typically travel about 60 miles an hour. It's the speed that we're comfortable with. But with 3 dogs and the 2 of us, we tend to stop about every hour and a half, sometimes a little bit more often than that. So our true average speed is about 45 miles per hour. We like to travel about 4 hours. The best circumstances would be for us to get up, have a relaxing breakfast, leave about 9, and get to where we're going to set up camp around 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Then we can enjoy some of the local sites. But this feature does not give you some of the neat, what it talks about up here in the miles per day is a radius setting on the number of miles that you might want to take. So we're going to select miles per day. And we're going to say, okay, let's go 250 miles per day is kind of the stretching it factor. And then we want to at least go 180 miles. And then the middle radius, kind of what we would consider, I would consider the optimum, is right around 200 miles. So this will become apparent once we start mapping out our trip, how this plays into, this is the way I like to do it, where I can kind of have a range on the map where it says, here you're pushing it, and this is an easy day. So I can kind of make the planning a little bit easier. And then you can use average driving speed, which I put up here, or you can use Google Maps estimate. So I'm going to use my own driving speed. General settings, you can either hover, you can auto-load the last trip, which I don't have set. You can hover over a stop for details, or you can click. I kind of like the hover. That's a new feature that just came out. And then for memberships and favorites, you can put in all of your memberships that you have. 1,000 Trails, Escapees, BLM. There's a ton of things that I've already got in here. You can add, here's the ones that I haven't selected. And you can see as I go through here, there's just a ton of things. And one of the things I'm going to go ahead and, I'm going to leave it at this. If I don't get everything that I want, then I can also add this local campground. But initially, let's go ahead and leave it the way it is. It has some of our membership things, like I've got Good Sam and KOA cards and different things like that. So, save settings. I think we're ready to start a new trip. So let's go to Albuquerque. Yeah, for the Balloon Festival. And 2017. Let's leave about the 28th of September. That should give us enough time to make a nice trip through, and the goal here is to get to Albuquerque. We're going to take the straight east route from Sacramento, in through Nevada, Utah, Colorado, and then down into New Mexico, and then take a quicker trip back home. So that's kind of the idea that I got. I already got an idea in the background of what I want to do. So I click on Create. Now you can use my location. You can specify a specific address. I'm just going to pick Sacramento as a generic address. So that's kind of in the general area that we are in right now. So we are going to start here for Sacramento. All right, so it centers our map, and it puts a little flag. This is where we're starting, and you can see there's a ton of things that are showing up here. So if we zoom out a little bit, and now here's our three radiuses. So the green line is kind of the minimum distance that we want to go. The yellow is the kind of the optimum, and then the red is pushing it a little bit. So let's zoom in a little bit more here. We want to set our endpoint. So I already know my route, and I started going out the route, but that's kind of missing what's going on here. So we know we want to go to New Mexico and Albuquerque, but I bet you balloon. Let's see. All right, Balloon Festival Standard Premium RV Parking. This looks like it will probably get us pretty darn close. Okay, so more details. We are going to put that as the last stop, and we are actually going to stay there for 5 nights. All right. Now, if we zoom out here, by default, this is the route that RVTripWizard is going to take us. But this is not the route that we want to go. We want to go up the northern route in through the Salt Lake City area maybe, and then kind of drop down into Albuquerque this way. So in order to swing this around there, just kind of arbitrarily, we will go in here and I'm just going to pick a rest stop here. And we want to put this after Sacramento and add to trip. So we're going to Just like any other mapping software, there's a way to. So now this is kind of follows. This is a northern route. It'll take a little bit longer, but this is an area that we've never been through before. And so this is one of the reasons that we wanted to go this route, is to put some new miles under Lola and going in a more interesting direction. Now, because we've been this other route before. So now that we've twisted the arms of RVTripWizard and say, oh, okay, this is the way we really want to go, let's zoom back in and see what's here in this area. Now, again, we've got a dead spot here, and until we get to Winnemucca. So we want to at least go 180 miles, and we're going through, there's a state park here, but if we go up here to Winnemucca, there's a Passport America. So New Frontier RV Park. So let's take a look at that. All right, it gives us we click on it, gives a phone number, website, show reviews, email address, then dollar amount. So if I click on the website, it brings up the RV park, and we can take a look and see what their options are for pets and different things like that. Phone numbers up here from their website, so you know it's on their website, so you know it's current. Some RVTripWizard is really good about updating their information, but a lot of times their information can be not a lot of times. Sometimes their information can be a little bit out of date. They are quick to update it if you give them a call or send them an email saying, "Oh, this is the correct email address, or the correct phone number." So let's go ahead and stay here one night. And let's say they give us Good Sam or something, and we get it. It's $35. So we can put in the amount here if we want. And then what I usually do. So let's. I'll go through and kind of plan out the route, and then go back through and call and make reservations. So we are going to put this after Sacramento and add to trip. All right. So we start off in Sacramento and see how it's bouncing there. The green flag is bouncing there in Sacramento. If we hover over the New Frontier Park, so we're beyond the red, but there wasn't too much in there in our three bands of green, orange, and red. Let's do one other thing while we're here. One of the features that I love is it also shows the rest areas now. That's a new feature. And first of all, we'll pick Sacramento. That's our point of reference. And with 3 dogs, we usually have to make a pit stop for them pretty soon. They get all excited, and they know when we're leaving. So leaving in Sacramento, here's the first rest area. It's at 57 miles from, and you can see that on the pop-up, 57 miles. All right, pick our rest area and drag over here to, so Truckee is 38 miles. And if we go up here, okay, so here is an I-80 rest area just inside of Nevada, and at miles 68. So we're going to go ahead and put that there after our last rest area. So now that we've got Winnemucca scheduled at the New Frontier RV Park, we can click on that and center our map. And then zoom out, we can start day number 2. Now, one of the things I see is this little fuel symbol here, which means a low fuel warning. So I need to start thinking about where I need to get fuel. I can either do it in Winnemucca, or there looks like there is a Flying J by Battle Mountain, Nevada. So since I'm already here in Winnemucca, I figure it's probably a good idea to go ahead and get fuel here. And notice there's, as you zoom in, these icons get farther apart. So you can see that there's a KOA and a Passport America, so, and an escapee, a park that gives an escapee discount. So we'll go ahead, and there's a propane and dump station here. So we're going to go ahead and add that. So I'm going to add that before staying at the RV park, so after mile marker 6, and I'm going to add that. Now, if we take a look here at at mile marker 6, if you click on edit, we have 74 gallons left for our fuel. And then it's 172 miles for the next leg. And at that point, we have 52 gallons left. Now, if we go to New Frontier, 5207. So at the Flying J, we'll go ahead and edit that. And we're going to add, let's see, we're 90 gallons, so it would be 38 gallons. So we've add 38 and save. So now if we take a look at New Frontier RV Park, we've got 90 gallons left. So we've refueled, and so that comes in pretty handy as far as scheduling your fuel stops. And basically, we just keep on doing that. We will pick our New Frontier RV Park and then zoom out, come over to where our 3 bands are, and then zoom in. And it looks like we are in another dead zone. That's still populating. Let's see. That's a pilot. Oh, okay. Here, sometimes you have to zoom in a little bit more to see. Oh, okay. So here's a bunch of. So we can again take a look. We can click on various RV parks here. Get park details. Give them a call. This takes C2C Classic, Passport America, 20 to 30. It's good mid-April to mid-October. So we're good as far as staying here. And let's say we call them and we decided we'd stay here. And we will add that after the New Frontier Park. All right. Now you can see our refueling place is just beyond Salt Lake City. So we do Crossroads RV Park as our reference point. We zoom out. And get into our now the question is, do we want to go through Salt Lake City and stop someplace, or stop someplace beforehand? And if we zoom in, for example, here's an Good Sam discount. Here's a Love's travel stop. So here's a refuel place here. So we can click on the Love's, and after we can update that in a minute to show how much fuel we get. Go back to Crossroads. Now we can zoom out to see our 3 circles. And again, in our radius here, we can check out different parks. And as a matter of fact, what we might want to do is, we've heard really good things about Mountain View. And so let's go ahead, and that's right in between the yellow and the red. So it's in the optimum distance. So more park details. And let's go ahead and stay 3 nights here. And we're going to do that after getting fuel at Love's. All right. Now, we're going to go back down to Love's here and edit that. We've got 45 gallons left, so we added 35. And save. So now when we go to Mountain View and take a look at that, we've got 67 gallons left. So it kind of, based on 8 miles per gallon, it calculates that. So click on the Mountain View. And again, zoom out. Then you can go back through your route and start adding fuel stops and other places that you may want to visit, rest areas. So we can go down to our bands here and zoom in. And well, we haven't stayed at a KOA this trip, and this here is Mesa Verde. So this looks like a good one. And let's go 2 nights here. Kind of just enjoy the scenery a little bit and take a chance to kind of explore the area around here. So we add that to the trip. All right. And we'll scroll down here to what we just added, Crossroads. And zoom back out. Till we see our circles. Oh, not Crossroads. Mountain View. Oh, KOA. We just did KOA. Sorry. But you can see how easy it is to navigate, and that puts us into Albuquerque. And we are actually going to stay outside of Albuquerque because we want to get to Albuquerque real early the next day. So we're going to stay outside of Albuquerque. Let's say American RV Park. Whoops. And we will stay there 1 night. And add that after the KOA. Now we've got a basic schedule, leaving on the 28th and arriving on October the 6th. All right, now that we've got our trip to Albuquerque taken care of, let's scroll down here, and we've already decided that we need to come back to Sacramento fairly quickly. So what we're going to do, and we've already been the southern route a couple of times in the past year, so we're going to go to round trip options, and we are going to go, we could do the mirror stops back to the starting point and then modify that. Let's go the direct route back to starting point. Again, this is a new feature, at least compared to version 3. So we're going to click direct route back to starting point. And there we go. Now all we have to do is starting at the Balloon Festival, click on that. Again, go through the same route. Back out until we get our 3 rings. Scroll over to those where our 3 measurements are, and then scroll back in and start taking a look at where we want to stay. One of the other thing I wanted to point out as I'm manually going through and finishing up this trip before the next section, I've gotten to KOA in Kingman, and I'm going to zoom out a little bit, scroll over to where the circles are, and Yermo, that rings a bell. So one of the things you can do, if you know that there's some place that you want to stay, for example, in Yermo, there's Peggy Sue's 50s Diner, where you can stay overnight for free, and they have good food too. So I'm going to pick that as do a search, and it's found that. And I can also click under POI, Points of Interest, and I can add restaurants. So if you additional area, we can select restaurant, save and close. And I can scroll in here. So I can either add this by the Peggy Sue's Diner like this. So there's a couple of ways that you can search for other things than kind of the standard things. You can, once you are in an area, you can kind of zoom in and select other things under the point of interest, which we'll get into a little bit more detail in the next video. But what we're going to do this is as an actual night stop, an overnight stop, we will add that. And that will be after Kingman, and add that to the trip. All right. So now we've got Peggy Sue's Diner, and again, like we did the best. Now, it gets kind of cluttered to have a lot of the restaurants and stuff, so I'm going to go back up under the points of interest, and for right now, I'm going to go ahead and turn that off and save and close. So you don't have quite so many things that are showing up. And come back over here. Now we're looking from Peggy Sue's. We're looking at staying in Central California. And to wrap up this trip, we will stop at an escapee, Sam's Club. Oh, we've got on our, well, it looks like they've got a few little bugs to work out still. Restaurants are still showing up for some reason, but I'm sure the next time I go in there, it won't. So we will, let's say Blackstone. Oh, that's real close to where we used to live many, many years ago in Fresno. We can go ahead and stay at that one night. And that wraps up our round trip from Sacramento to Albuquerque, New Mexico, taking the scenic route to start off with and the more direct route coming back. You can see how we can select various parks to RV parks to stay at, how you can select, and it shows fuel points. You can add rest stops to it. Very versatile program as far as actually planning your step-by-step route as far as where you want to go. And in all cases, it checks the height of the route that is involved so that you have a kind of a sanity check that you won't have any issues with low bridges. Thanks for joining us for this episode of RVBuiltFor2.com and our review of the RVTripWizard software. Stay tuned for some additional information in our next episode about more features of RVTripWizard. Happy trails!